Gardeners often spend hours watering, fertilizing and fussing over plants, only to see modest results. Yet a trick that has been quietly used for generations can change everything: applying rotten mulch in the right way. This isn't about fresh straw or clean leaves. It's about letting organic matter decompose just enough to unlock its full potential. When done correctly, this simple technique doubles plant growth by feeding the soil, attracting beneficial organisms and creating a thriving ecosystem right under your plants. This method taps into historical and traditional practices. Farmers and gardeners have long observed that aged, decomposed plant material accelerates soil fertility far more effectively than raw mulch or synthetic fertilizers. Using rotten mulch correctly transforms ordinary beds into nutrient-dense growing zones with minimal labor. It's really quite remarkable how little effort it takes. Rotten mulch works because it feeds soil life directly. Decomposing organic matter is not just food for plants. It nourishes the invisible army beneath the soil, which is absolutely essential for a thriving garden. Microbes, fungi and worms consume the rotting mulch, breaking down complex compounds into nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. These nutrients are then released slowly, providing a constant food source for plants. It's a rather elegant system, really. Worms, in particular, tunnel through the soil while feeding, aerating it, and producing castings rich in essential minerals. This dual action of decomposition and soil conditioning explains why plants fed by rotten mulch often grow significantly faster than those in untreated beds. To apply this in practice, simply collect kitchen scraps, fallen leaves or plant trimmings and allow them to partially decompose for several weeks. Once they have softened and darkened, spread a layer around your plants, making sure it is in contact with the soil but not smothering any seedlings. The trick is in timing and preparation. Fresh mulch can rob the soil of nitrogen while it decomposes, temporarily slowing plant growth. Rotten mulch, however, has already gone through the initial decomposition phase, making its nutrients immediately available. Preparing it involves allowing leaves, straw and vegetable scraps to rot for 3 to 6 weeks in a pile or compost bin, turning occasionally to maintain airflow. This ensures the mulch doesn't develop harmful mold or attract pests, and it preserves the beneficial microorganisms that boost soil health. Once ready, apply a 2 to 3 inch layer around plants, gently pressing it into the topsoil to make contact without compacting. Water lightly to help microbes and worms integrate the mulch into the soil. Applying rotten mulch improves soil structure and moisture retention. As the mulch continues to decompose, it improves soil texture, making compacted beds soft and spongy. This allows roots to penetrate deeper, access nutrients efficiently, and, withstand dry spells. The mulch also locks in moisture, reducing evaporation and, helping gardeners save water. Historical farms relied on similar methods, layering decaying plant matter around crops to maintain soil fertility through hot summers and dry seasons. By mimicking this natural process, modern gardeners can achieve similar resilience and productivity. For example, after preparing your rotten mulch, you'll want to apply it in raised beds or traditional rows. Then just water thoroughly to activate microbial activity, and you'll soon observe the soil becoming darker, softer, and more alive within just a few days. Rotten mulch attracts beneficial insects and soil organisms naturally. One of the hidden benefits of this technique is that decomposed organic matter attracts earthworms, predatory insects, and other organisms that help maintain garden health. Worms aerate and fertilize the soil, while predatory insects control pests without chemical intervention. Over time, your garden becomes a self-regulating ecosystem where plants thrive and soil fertility builds naturally. Here's a practical tip for you. Rotate the placement of mulch throughout the garden each season. Doing this encourages uniform soil enrichment and, keeps worm populations strong across the entire bed. The method really does work for all types of gardens, from vegetables to ornamentals. Whether you're growing tomatoes, lettuce or flowers, rotten mulch supports vigorous growth. Seedlings, in particular, benefit from early access to nutrients, while mature plants continue to receive a slow-release food source. Even container gardens can take advantage of this approach. Just place partially decomposed organic matter at the bottom or around the sides of pots, cover lightly with soil, and give it a good watering. The same principles apply on both small and large scales, making this trick, extremely versatile. Rotten mulch doubles as a sustainable low-cost fertilizer. Unlike synthetic fertilizers, rotten mulch is free or inexpensive and makes use of materials that would otherwise be discarded. By feeding soil organisms rather than just plants, it creates long-term fertility and reduces labor over time. Historical gardeners relied on decayed plant material for centuries because it built resilient soil, capable of supporting continuous cropping without chemical inputs. Using this method today saves money, improves plant health, and supports environmental sustainability. A practical step, really, is to maintain a small pile of leaves, straw, and kitchen scraps throughout the growing season. Rotten mulch demonstrates the power of working with nature rather than against it. This simple, often overlooked technique shows that by observing natural processes, decay, microbial activity, and worm behavior, gardeners can achieve dramatic results without complex fertilizers or chemicals. The effect is both immediate and lasting. Soil becomes living, plants grow faster, and the garden becomes resilient to drought and pests. For more forgotten soil secrets, practical growing hacks, and sustainable garden strategies, subscribe to Farm Logic. Share this video with fellow gardening enthusiasts and history buffs, and start using rotten mulch to double your plant growth while nurturing a thriving, self-sustaining garden ecosystem.